A forum of businessmen in KwaZulu-Natal has pledged its support for former President Jacob Zuma ahead of his court battles. The radical economic transformation champion says it respects the rule of law and upholds the notion of innocence until proven otherwise. The group is calling on all South Africans to rally behind the embattled former president. The forum's Nkosentsha Shezi joins me now from our Durban studios. Good evening, Mr. Shezi. Thanks very much for joining us. Just a quick one. Who exactly comprises this forum? Where are these people drawn from? Who are they?
Good evening to you and the viewers at home. Well, there are a number of business forums that have come together under the banner of Radical Economic Transformation Champion, RET Champion. One, I would mention the National Funeral Practitioners Association of South Africa, of which I'm the Secretary General. There is also another group called the National Unemployed People's Trust, that is led by Comrade Nzuza, as well as Delang Okubona SA Business Forum, which is led by Babu Mnyando, as well as Asidle Sonke Forum. We also comprise of the Black First Land First, that is led by Comrade Andy Lemgitama.
Right. Now, what is it exactly that you want to do?
Well, look, we just under a month ago, we have honored the former state president, President Zuma, as father of RET, because we believe that in his tenure, he has done a very, commendable work in terms of honoring black people and pushing for their agenda. He is the one who called for land expropriation without compensation, as well as he declared free education that is enjoyed by working class children. He introduced 30% in the mining charter and 30% in the localization of tender systems. So as business people, we honor the efforts that he has done. We know that he initiated BRICS and led South Africa to be part of the countries that make up BRICS. And we know that all the presidents that are part of the BRICS have faced a number of challenges. But as business forums, we said we are going to support President Zuma. We are going to make sure that we create a platform for ordinary citizens that would want to come on the 5th of April for a night vigil. And on the 6th of April, we are going to gather around what is formerly known as Botha, the King Dinizulu Park in Durban, and we are going to march from that park right straight to the Durban High Court, where we are going to pledge our support. We are standing behind President Jacob Zuma.
Well, let's go through a few of the things you've highlighted as reasons for you supporting Jacob Zuma. Land expropriation without compensation. That's as a result of a conference resolution of the ANC as of December 2017.
Yes. Indeed, we salute the ruling party that, when President Zuma called for land expropriation without compensation, it was even before it was adopted as the policy of the ruling party. And we applaud the ruling party, and we are saying that President Zuma, we give him support for showing guts in terms of standing against the white monopoly capital and ensuring that black business people can be given a space to partake in the country's economy. And we are saying anyone who's on the side of radical economic transformation, we shall support you no matter who challenges you.
Well, let's talk about second point that you raised, radical economic transformation. Your statement says 24 years has been too long. We want localization of economy to benefit local people in townships and rural areas. Now, almost 10 of those 24 years were with Jacob Zuma at the helm.
Of course, 10 of those 24 years were with President Jacob Zuma. And we highly appreciate that, you know, he was deployed to lead the state, and the state as an organ, as an entity, is not a system that is designed for the poor. The state is there to dominate the poor. The state is there to ensure that the ruling class, the capitalists, remain with money, remain with the resources, so that the rest of the population of the country can remain workers and consumers. And we say within the 10 years, we have seen some strides that President Zuma did. We have seen the policy shift towards the radical economic transformation. I am of the view that if President Zuma was to lead this country for a few more years, this country will be an egalitarian society indeed, where everybody can live in peace and harmony.
But how is he a champion? How, I mean, the organizations that you mentioned at the beginning, the Association of Funeral Parlors, Amatela Ngokubona, Asidle Sonke, some of the members of those, or people affiliated to those organizations, have been going around trying to get business by force, if necessary, simply because the champion you are talking about didn't deliver the goods that you wanted him to deliver.
Of course, that is a very nice propaganda to spread around President Zuma, but I don't believe.
But how so? How so? He was in charge. He was at the helm.
Of course, but President Zuma was not at the local municipalities. President Zuma was not in every ministry of government. President Zuma was presiding as the state president. It cannot be true, because you still have state-owned enterprises that are led correctly so by whosoever that is deployed there. So we cannot take all that is wrong and blame it on Zuma. We can, at this moment, we are highlighting the good that President Zuma has done for this country, and we know for sure that, you know, the mainstream media will always highlight the negatives. And we are not saying that President Zuma is an angel, but all we are saying is that President Zuma is a hero of the poor and the oppressed people in this country. And even in this democracy, 24 years down the line, the vast majority of the black population still languishes in poverty, and it is high time that we stand up and defend whoever stand on the side of the poor. And President Zuma is an embodiment, a symbolic symbol of radical economic transformation, and we stand 1000% behind him.
So he remains your hero even when there are allegations with a great deal of evidence suggesting that he actually took poor money that was meant for the poor and gave it to his friends who benefited during his reign. He took money that was supposed to, his administration, that is, to go to black businesses like yours, but guess who benefited? It was his friends and some of his family members. But I suppose he remains your hero in spite of all that.
Well, I like the way that you started with allegations, you know. I can throw all sorts of allegations about anybody in this country, and I'm free to do so because we have a freedom of expression. However, we remain resolute behind the man Zuma for the excellent standing work that he has done for the broad population that is in poverty. You know, if it was not for President Zuma, we would not have the largest ARV scheme in the whole world, which saved millions of lives. If it was not for President Zuma, we would not have free education today, and for that we salute the president.
Would go even to the ARV program for that matter. Thabo Mbeki was forced to actually concede to certain things, and as a direct result, the state went ahead and implemented the biggest ARV program, even though he himself had serious doubts and reservations about it. So it came before Jacob Zuma, as a matter of fact.
Well, I would not like to be drawn into a comparison between the president of Umhlonishwa, Honorable former President Thabo Mbeki, and of His Excellency President Zuma. I don't want to get into that debate. However, what I'm saying is that President Zuma, he has our support as he's going to court on the 6th of April. Masses of our people who are calling upon you to support President Zuma will be gathering in Durban at King Dinizulu Park, and will be marching towards Durban High Court to show our support for President Zuma. And at the moment, we are calling upon all business people to contribute to a fund that we want to make sure that we take care of all the logistics towards the arrangements for the 5th and the 6th of April.
Mr. Shezi, thank you very much for talking to us this evening.